Good morning, S1. I'm just going to talk you through your lesson for today. So our focus is to be able to use our understanding of decimal place value to be able to correctly order decimals in ascending and descending values. So that means we're looking at decimals and we want to be able to order them from smallest to largest or from largest to smallest, depending on what the question is asking us or what the context of those decimals are. So the idea is that we have 3 stages. So we've got red, orange and green. Okay. All of us will be able to correctly order the decimals with one place. Okay. And that's in the red colour. Most of us will be able to correctly order decimals to 2 places. And then some of us will be able to correctly order decimals to 3 places. Right. I've structured the following tasks so that they're into those 3 levels. The first task is generic practice. And everyone needs to work through the colours. Start at red and try your best. If you can only manage red, that's fine. You can stop there. If you can go on and do orange, that's great. Push on and do that. And if you can do green, that's even better. Push on and do as much as you can. Okay, that's in task 1. It's just generic practice. The second task is based on real athletic results. So your job is you need to order them and figure out who the winner is. Okay, again, they're colour coded, so they're red, orange and green. You just do as much as you can. On Wednesday, I'm going to put up a small quiz via assignments on ordering decimals, and that will be due for the following Sunday. So you have 5 days to complete it. Okay, you need to use your tutorial time to come back and ask me for help or any questions or anything that you need to be able to do. This week, you are also expected to use your SumDog account, okay? Next week, we're getting put into a competition. So this week, I've set you a challenge of answering 200 correct answers. Right, so I just want you to do that as soon as you finish doing any of your decimal work, or if you find yourself with an extra 15-20 minutes somewhere, just hop onto your SumDog and get stuck in about all those questions and do a little bit of work. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through your class, through the tasks and show you them, and then I'm going to go on and do a few examples. Okay, again, the tutorial link will be put in here. So here we go, look, task 1, all you need to do is write your answers, okay, into here in the correct order. That's what we're looking for, okay? You can do that for every single question, right? There's plenty of practice. Then once you've managed to get through the red, you can move on to orange. Orange brings it up to 2 decimal places, and we need to be a little bit more careful. And then green, okay, green puts it into context with money, so we need to think about it, what 28 pence would be as a decimal. So 28 pence is obviously 0.28, because it is the same, this here, which is 0.30 pounds, okay, is 30 pence. So we need to think about that and how much each of these is worth, and then put them into order. Task 2, so these are the athletic results that I was talking about. Now, I've taken these from Olympics and from other events, okay? Now, decimals are really important, right, when competing in any sports, because 100th of a second could make a difference. A 10th, okay, of a difference in the distance could be the difference between qualifying for the Olympics or not. So your job is to look at these following results, okay, and then put them into the table, right? Order is important. You need to decide who places first. So red is the men's 100 metre sprint. Now you might know who won that anyway, but let's have a look at, you need to look at the times, right? And in the brackets I've put what you need to think about the person who places first. So the fastest time wins means it's going to be the smallest number. So we need to find out who the smallest is. Alright. Now it's obviously Usain Bolt. And I'm just going to write that in there. Okay, you can either write it in or you can type it in. Absolutely fine with either way that you want to do it. Alright. Then we've got orange, okay, that just brings it up that little bit. Okay, 2 decimal places involved there as well, and you're having to figure it out. And then when we move into the green, we've got going up to 3 decimal places and being able to order that. And then looking at the Australian Grand Prix qualifying times as well, right? And looking at the lap times in minutes and seconds, including 3 decimal places for the seconds. Okay, so your job is just to fill them in and put them in the right time. Then, as I already said, get onto your SumDog, looking to enter the PKC competition next week. You should have your login details. If you can't remember them, get in contact with me, tag me in your class, and I'll upload the files to let you know what your let you know what your SumDog details are. Okay, so if you're happy with this, fire on, go and get stuck in about it, just crack on with it. If not, if you're a wee bit unsure or you want a little bit extra help, then I'm just going to go through a little technique of how to help you order decimals. So when you're ordering decimals, we need to think about how many decimal places we've got, okay, and what sort of decimals we're dealing with. Well, in this one, we've got 1 after decimal place every single time, and we've got 1 value before the decimal place on every single one as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a small table where I'm just going to say I've got units, then I've got my decimal place, and then I've got my tenths. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my numbers below that. So 0.4, 0.7, 0.5, 0.1, and 1.2. Then I need to redo the table and now put them in the order that I want to do. So again, I'm going to redo the table for a second time. Help if I get it right. Units, decimal place, tenths. Now, I want to go from smallest to largest. So again, if I look at these numbers here, right, all these ones here are zeros. Okay, so what we do is we look along the column and we decide which one's the smallest. Now, all of those are smaller than 1. Yep. So that means because they're all the same, we then need to move over to the next column here into our tenths, and we need to find which one of these is the smallest. So 4, 7, 5, 1. 1. That is the smallest number, which means that one there must be the smallest. 0.1. Okay, so we've done that one. I'm going to score it out, and then I'm going to do the same again. So these 3 here are the smallest. I don't need to worry about that because it's too big. So I move over to the next column and I look for the smallest number. 4, 7, 5. Right, the smallest number there's 4. So that's my next number. 0.4. Same again. 0, 0, 1. I'm not bothered about that just now. 0, 0. What's smaller? 7 or 5? 5. And then it's either 0 or 1. Well, 0 is smaller, so 0.7 must be next, meaning that 1.2 is my biggest number. 0.1, 0.4, 0.5, 0.7, 1.2. Okay. I'm going to go through that again, another couple of examples, and just show you how to do that again. Okay. So example number 2, this time slightly bigger numbers. Alright. But again, we've only got our units and tenths, so I'm just going to build that small table just like I did there. So unit, decimal place, tenths. And I'm going to do a second table as well because that's when I'm going to first reorder it. Alright. I'm not saying you absolutely have to do it in this technique, but if you start struggling with the examples, then this is an easy way to do it to help you get it right. Okay. Some of you might be able to do it without going into the table. You might be able to sort of order it straight away, and that's okay as long as you have an understanding of it. Alright, but it's a good idea that if you're struggling to see which number is the smallest, then you write it in little tables and you help us go through it. So again, I'm going to write it out. I've got 2.6, 2.9, 2.1, 3.4. I'm just going to move this question down and out of the way because that's a little bit. Okay, so 2.6, 2.9, 2.1, 3.4, and then 1.5. Right. again, looking to go from smallest to biggest. So what we do is we look at our first column and we go down. So we've got 2, 2, 2, 3, 1. Our smallest number there is 1. So that must be our smallest number, 1.5. Excellent. So we can take that off. Then we've got 2, 2, 2, 3. Right. 2 is obviously the smallest number, but we have 3 of those, which means we need to go over to the next column and see what the smallest number is. 6, 9, 1. Right, 1's my smallest number, so that's my next one. 2.1. 2, 2, 3, right, so we're going up to 2, we need to go over to the next column. 6 is smaller than 9, so we have 2.6. Then we go over again. 2, 3, 2 is still the smallest, which means 2.9 must be next. And then 3.4 must be our biggest number. Okay. This time we're up to 2 decimal places. That didn't go very well. Okay. Question 3. How we go through that. So this time we've got units, tens, and hundredths. Okay, so this time we've actually got 2 decimal places, so we're going to put that in and put it into place. Okay. Writing our numbers in, we've got 1.62, 1.56, 1.78, 1.52, and 1.63. Okay. We need to apply the same approach. Okay. If we look at our first column, then we can see that they're all 1s. So that tells us that we need to move into our second column and check those values there. Okay. So we've got 6, 5, 7, 5, 6. The smallest value there is 5. Okay. Here and here. So we've got 1.5, 1.5 on both of those, which means we then need to go into the third column, we need to go into our hundredths, and we need to check those values. So which one's smaller, 2 or 6? Okay, so 2 is smaller, which means that is going to be our smallest number, 1.52. And that means then we've got 1.56 after that. Okay. Smallest number next after that, is it 6 or 7? Well, it's 6, but again, we've got 2 of those. So we need to check the next column, okay, in our hundredths, and see what is smaller. Is it 2 or 3? Well, 2 is smaller, so my next number is going to be 1.62. And then my number after that is going to be 1.63. And then our last number that we're left with is 1.78. Now we've got our numbers in nice order, using the columns to help us figure out which number is the smallest and which number is the biggest. Okay, I'm going to skip this question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to question 5 here, and we're just going to have a wee talk about how this one works. Okay, because as you'll notice in the questions, this is 1.55, so has 2 decimal places, but this one has 1 decimal place. So we need to think about that when we are looking at the values and what that means. Okay. Again, we're going to write in our columns. Now we've got 2 decimal places on some of them, so we need to write that in. Units, tens, hundredths. And then our second column for when we ordered it, units, tenths, hundredths. What we're going to do is we're going to write it in. So we've got 1.55, 1.5, 1.6, 1.6, 1, and then 1.7. Okay. To help us with ordering these, in our hundreds column here, what we can do is we can fill any space that is there with a 0. Right. And then what that does is that helps us get a better understanding of the value of our decimals and be able to compare them against one another. So as before, we do the same. We look at the first column. Now these are all 1. So that means that's not going to help us order them. We need to go into our next column. So our next column, we've got 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. Which means 5 is the smallest here. These are our 2 smallest ones. And then we're going to have to go into our hundreds column. What's smaller? 0 or 5. 0. So 1.50. Then 1.55. We need to go back. Okay, next smallest number. Again, the 1s don't help us, but the 6s do. So we've got to compare these. What's smaller? In the third column, in the hundreds, 0 or 1. 0 smaller. 1.60. 1.61. And then what we're left with at the end is 1.70. And what we can do is we can then take off the zeros that we put on. So the correct order is 1.5, 1.55, 1.6, 1.61, 1.7. Okay, they're the only examples I'm going to go through just now. If you are still struggling, you need to come on and see me at tutorial time, and we'll be able to go through some examples with you, and I will show you some extra links and bits of material I have that might be able to help you, or we might be able to find another technique that helps you to be able to understand to get the right order. Remember, it doesn't just have to be from smallest to biggest. You can order it the other way. Okay, so if I really wanted to, I could just write this the other way with 1.7, 1.61. Okay, you've just got to decide which order that you need to put it in, especially for task 2. Okay, right.